So hey world, welcome to my channel and welcome to Superman 2025 movie review. Yeah, it's that time. If you saw the trailer review, the trailer reaction that I did, I posted it when it came out, then you know what my initial thoughts were on that, and those thoughts still maintain. But before we get into that, spoilers, because I'm going to be talking about the video. Excuse me. Damn. Uh, what else? Oh, check out my main channel. Check all of my links in the description. Patreon, TikTok, all that if you want more content from me. And yeah, let's get into it. 3 spoilers. 3, 2, and 1. Yeah. So my initial thoughts on the trailer were, why are we making another Superman movie? I'm tired of Superman, first of all. Second, the villain is going to be Lex Luthor again. Again. Third, they're going to make Superman lose a bunch of times until finally at the end he wins. So, like, the most cliche plot ever. Which I understand that you kind of have to do that so you can have some growth as a superhero. Now you have to lose to get back up again and to get better. But literally the movie starts with them saying, "Oh, Superman lost his first battle." I was like, "Okay, what's the problem?" Like, I like the movie in general. What I like the most, and it might be the only thing, well, one of two things that I like about the movie, is how David portrayed Superman. That was my favorite thing. Superman and Clark. That's my favorite part of it. The awkwardness of him being Clark, I didn't feel as much. I don't think he did that. To be fair, they didn't have that many scenes as Clark. And that's another thing. The only scene that they have David as Clark is like at the beginning of the movie when he's at the Daily Planet. That's basically the only thing we have him as Clark, because all of the scenes with Lois, she knows he's Superman, so he's not acting as Clark. Yeah, that was the only time he was Clark. That's true. I still like how he portrayed him, but it's just like, I don't know. With Supergirl, the show, she had, in that show they did make her a little bit like Superman. Like, they give her a family. She had a sister, Alex, but she still remembered Krypton. So she also had that trauma. And Supergirl is another thing that I'm going to be talking about, because what the fuck was that? But in that show, she was so good at playing like the awkward Kara, because it was natural. It's like, it's how she felt in the normal clothes. It's how she kind of was if she didn't have powers. And then when she did have powers and she was with the Supergirl suit, she was so confident and so sure and so strong. And so to have that duality, and especially to have an actor that can portray awkwardness without being cringe or without seeming forced, it seems natural. But then knowing that that character has a side where they are the most powerful in the world, and then when you are that powerful, you can also portray that confidence, but still have that essence of that awkwardness, is such a good thing. And I just didn't feel that in this, because like I said, we only had one scene with Clark. The rest of the movie was him as Superman. But I like the way he portrayed Superman. But that's it. That we only had Superman for the whole movie. And then another thing that I didn't like is Eve. Also, the girl that plays Eve, Sara Sampaio, she's Portuguese. I'm Portuguese too. So we had a Portuguese person in the Superman movie. I love to see it. And she did a good job for what the character was. I mean, she's a model, she's not an actress, but for what the character was, she did a good job. But I hate what the character was because Eve, again, I'm going to be referencing the Supergirl show because that's the best in my opinion, that's the best that they portrayed a lot of the characters. She was so much more complex. She had such different kind of relationship with Lex because Lex was on the show too. She had such a different relationship with Lex. She was much smarter on that on the show. That's why she had a different relationship with Lex. She wasn't just like a fling or like a girlfriend that was just taking selfies everywhere. Yes, the selfies were useful at the end because she was taking selfies of the proof and all the contracts and everything. So yes, I will give her that in that part, that intelligence. But in the show, she was so much more intelligent, so much more. She was just so much more. And I understand that in a movie like this, you can't develop a character to be like that. And there was no place for her to be. I feel like there was. If they actually wanted to make Eve a lot more interesting, they could have. But it just felt like comic relief, and it wasn't even that funny. And that's the recurring theme in this movie. It just wasn't. The majority of the jokes wasn't that funny because they were forced. They were just awkward. They were just, and there was just too much of it. It was just ugh. Because another thing is Cat Grant. Cat Grant, the Cat Grant in the Supergirl show was such a fucking boss. Such, it was like one of the best parts of that show. And the show did get a little bit worse when she left. But she was just such a fucking boss. She owned Catco. She owned the whole building, a whole thing. And of course, that was National City for Supergirl. Here we're in Metropolis. But they turned Cat Grant into a big titty, white haired character with, obviously a wig because they said you have to have your boobs out. And I remember at the end of the movie when she was jumping on the ship, that's the only thing you could see is like her titties jumping. That ugly ass white wig. And then the glasses. I'm like, you look at that and it's like, that looks like a character from a porno. And it's like, not only did they make Eve like a comic relief character, she was supposed to be funny, which I didn't think it was, but then they made Cat, whatever that fucking was. Then Jimmy Olsen. They made him so awkward and so icky. Every time he had a line, I'm like, eh, eh. And then they made like the hot girls chase like the awkward guy. That was also a plot. The name of Eve in his contacts was like feet, like it was like ugly feet or something. They made every character awkward and cringe and just ugh every time they were on the screen for me. And then don't even get me started on Lex because can I just say that that's not really a hard character to do? I understand that of all the Superman villains, that's the most where you can get out of the acting because it is such a rage centered character and like rage, and he just wants to get at Superman for absolutely no reason. It's just rage and hate. But at the same time, it's just you can get that performance out of the actor, but it's just not that interesting. We had Lex in Smallville. We had Lex in every movie. We had girl in the CW universe. We had Lex in Supergirl. Because even in the show Supergirl, that's supposed to be about Supergirl, even there they put Lex. But I understand it kind of makes sense because Lena was also there. We had the relationship with whatever. But he was also a villain for an entire season. And again, why? because he didn't like the super people. He didn't like Superman and Supergirl. So he just wants to get at them because. Even there we had. And then because Tyler played Superman in the CW, when they went to do the Superman and Lois show, and it was Tyler again, they brought another actor to play Lex. And they just said that that was a different universe. Oh, like that never made sense to me that he played Superman in the Supergirl universe and like the CW. And then when they went to make his own show, they just made it separate thing. Because they wanted to do something different with it. They made it like it was a different universe. And that always pissed me off because like you could have evolved the story in a good way in the same universe, but no. They just wanted to distance themselves because a lot of people hate the CW universe. I love it. I really do. And I would watch the worst season of Supergirl any day before watching this Superman movie again. The thought that kept going through my mind when I was watching it was like, this looks like a parody movie. This looks like I said, like a Pornhub version, like a dirty version of, when they do a porno, when they do like cosplays. This is what it felt like, honestly. The Justice Gang, the Green Lantern was the most icky character too. The haircut, ugly. The way his lines, awful, horrible. Mr. Terrific, I actually kind of liked it. Hawk Girl, so useless. She did nothing. I like when she screamed as the Hawk when she was attacking people. I like that. But she didn't do anything in the movie. She was so useless, I swear. What else? Superman's parents? Like Martha and whatever the guy's name is. Girl, you could have told me that's anybody else. I would not believe that that's Martha. Because I understand that you can cast different people for the same role. But in a role, especially in Superman and stuff like this, you already have kind of a vibe that you have for the character. You have something particular about the character. When you look at somebody, you can be like, that person could play that character because they have like a similarity or something. They have the vibe of that character. In this movie, nobody had a vibe for the character besides David. He was a good Superman. And Lois. Lois was good too. She gave me Lois. She gave me the vibes of Lois. I like her. I like them too. Everybody else, again, it felt like a parody movie. Like those parodies on YouTube even where they make fun of the movie. It was just crazy bad. Even the dog, bitch. Even Crypto. Some of the moments with Crypto were funny. But they just did too much with it. There were some moments where I was like, okay, I hope Crypto acts a little bit serious now. When they were getting out of the black of the pocket dimension. And it was like, oh, here comes Crypto to save everybody. And then he just does that bullshit again of like playing. I was like, oh my God. Like some of the parts with the dog were funny, but they just did too much with it. They didn't have a line. They didn't have a limit of the fucking jokes. It was joke after joke after joke after joke. And then, oh, Crypto, here comes Crypto. Maybe he's gonna help in the situation actually. And then he just does some bullshit again. He had the baby in his hand and he was like, Crypto, no, you're gonna smash the baby. And he just kept going. Nobody in the theater laughed. Like I said, some of the parts were funny and some people laughed at some of the parts, but nobody laughed, and there was a considerable amount of people. Nobody fucking laughed. Nobody fucking laughed at most of the jokes because they weren't funny. So it can't even be just me. Not even just like a giggle, like, huh. There was nothing. Nobody laughed at the majority of the fucking jokes because they just did too much. And it was, not only did they do too much, but it was so bad and so awkward and so cringe. And I just felt like punching the fucking screen, I swear. That's why I don't like the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, because that's the same fucking bullshit that James Gunn did in those fucking movies. It's just so awkward, and every time I was on the screen, I just felt like punching. What's his name? Chris Pratt, because he was just so awkward and so yeah, because it's so just. I understand being funny. I understand like that dumbass humor. But then not only is that not funny in a normal setting, but then they just go the extra mile with it, and it's so infuriating. It's like they know they're not funny, but they keep pushing it. The special effects were fine. Loved it. I loved the way Superman fought. Every time that he like spinned, so fun. When he grabbed, I think it was Ultraman, and he grabbed him by his arm, and he was just like swinging around. That part was so fun. Or when he span, I don't know, and he used like his hit vision, and he did this, like spinning around using the hit vision to kill all of the armor people. So fun. Also, he barely used the hit vision in the fucking movie. That was basically the only part that he used it. I was like, what even is the purpose? Even the breath, like the frozen breath, he used it like 2 times or 3. And it was to get out of other situations. When he was trying to get out of the black hole, he used it, but we didn't even see the ice. Mind you, the movie had so many fight scenes, and he was basically just punching and punching and punching and punching. And breaking and breaking and breaking, and then spinning and spinning and spinning. Basically no hit vision, no frost breath, basically no other fucking abilities that it could have used. It was just punching and punching and punching. So fucking repetitive, I'll tell you. And what else? What can I say? I don't even know. Supergirl. Let's get into that. Horrible. Horrible. Speaking of cringe, Supergirl. I made a TikTok about it when they released the poster, because I hadn't watched the movie when they released the poster. She had the suit similar to Superman's. I liked the suit, but she had like the jacket over it, and it said look up, and the up was like had a cross on it with like a graffiti, and it said look out. And what I said on TikTok was like, they're gonna do the cliche storyline of like that female character that has been through something traumatic, and she just wants to drink and drink and drink and be like a bad girl, ba 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 ba. But then there's gonna be a villain, and then she's gonna have to turn her life around and actually be more responsible, because at the end of the day, even if she wants to be someone normal, she can't, because she has powers, and because she has powers, she has a responsibility, and because she has a responsibility, she should use it for the good. And so she's gonna have, and then in her movie, she's probably gonna have to, she's gonna have a villain that she's gonna have to fight, and she's gonna be like a fucking mess, but she's gonna have to get her act straight so she can defeat the villain and then become a hero. I hate it when she fucking came in. That part with Crypto was funny, when he was just slamming her, and then he's like, oh yeah, it makes sense why Crypto acts the way he acts. That was funny. But like she said, oh, thank you for taking care of him, bitch. It's like, what? And how much do you want to bet that they think this type of character is relatable because she's drinking all the time and she says bitch, and because she curses, and they're probably gonna think that everybody's gonna relate to this character, and I just, in my mind, I just imagine Melissa, the one that plays Supergirl in the show, and how perfect she was when she had the red kryptonite and she was evil. She was so amazing as evil, but she was so good when she was good. Every Like even with the trauma when she was crying, I remember the a scene from season 1. I'll show you. I'll put the video right here so you can see real acting.
Could she have saved us?
She was a criminal.
But was she right?
I am not programmed to give you that information.
Tell me!
I'm sorry. I am not programmed to give you that information.
You let everyone that I love die. You left me. You left me alone. You sent me away. How could you do that?
I am not programmed to give you that information.
I understand that in this show, they kind of made her a little bit like Superman. They also gave her a family. She had Alex, the sister. She wanted to use her powers. But they still made sure to show her trauma. And she did such a good job with it. Like, oh, they could never recreate this. And now they're just going to make a drunk Supergirl. And to now reduce Supergirl to being a mess, and she likes to go to other planets to have a drink, planets that have a red sun because she can't get drunk on Earth, so she has to go to other planets to go get drunk. And she was like, well, even when she arrived, she was like, oh hey, where's my dog? Thank you for taking care of him, bitch. And remember what I said about the casting, that you can look at somebody and sit and kind of feel the vibe of the character. I do not feel that with the actress. I'm so sorry. And even her hair looks like they dyed it, and it just looks unhealthy. You know, like it looks like hay. That's what it looks like. It's not like that pretty blonde, like beautiful, like Melissa had. But I understand that that's part of what they're trying to make the character be. Like they're trying to make her seem messy, so the hair and like the dirty coats are gonna be like signs that she's messy. But I just look at her and I just look at her face, and it's just not giving Supergirl. And I love Supergirl so much, and I just know, especially after seeing this one, I just know it's gonna be so cringe and awkward like this one was. And I hate how much love James Gunn gets when this is the type of bullshit he makes. I would rather a Superman that I don't give a care. I don't care. Like and it's not even about the suits having color and like the movies being more saturated. Look at this. I love color. Come on. But I would rather a fucking dark Superman where like the screen is super dark, you can't see anything. And he's just so, hey, I am Superman. Then whatever this fucking bullshit was. Like the fighting was there, the costume was there, minus the Justice Gang. The Justice Gang costume fucking burned that bullshit. What the fuck was that? And he's the Green Lantern, but he has a fucking white and black suit that it has nothing green on it. You couldn't make a Green Lantern suit? Okay, so actually I was scrolling through TikTok and I saw a clip of them. And I actually saw that he does have some green parts to the suit. I still think they look kind of bad. But now looking at this picture, he looks kind of good. Maybe I forgot. But still, like, the green is too dark. It should be a little lighter, because look at the ring. It looks lighter. I guess that they have their individual suits and they have the same suit, but the individual color. But bitch, what? You have a Green Lantern and Hawk Girl, and these are the suits? Ay, Dios mío. I still hate the suits, but yeah, I'll take it back. He had something green on it. Sure, whatever. They should have. That's my thing. Oh, also, that's another thing, because they didn't have individual suits. They had one like specific suit for everybody. You mean to tell me Hawk Girl that has fucking wings didn't have her own suit? Do you know the origin of Hawk Girl? She did have like the armor, like something that it fit. But no, she has that ugly white that looks like a. I don't even know what to compare it to, honestly. So 50-50 on the costumes. And I feel like they had the right idea. But we need a new villain. I'm tired of Lex. I'm tired of Lex. Get a new fucking villain for Superman. Tired of Lex. Tired. He was so annoying to the way he portrayed him. I hated it. Um, get a new villain for Superman. And I'm tired of the storyline with Lois. I love them as a couple, but I've seen so many iterations of them together. I'm fucking tired. Make Lois the villain. Bring a new Lois from another Earth and make her the villain. Was that really that hard to do? Like the Bizarro world. She kidnaps the real Lois. She pretends to be Lois, but then Superman finds out that she's not the real Lois, and then they have to fight. And then in the Bizarro world, she had superpowers, and then they have to fight with the superpowers. You know how crazy that would be? But no, no, let's bring Lex again and Superman again, because it's not even about Superman, because I also love Superman and what he stands for. But what I said in the trailer, and it's exactly what happened, is that they want to bring Superman back so bad, and every time they just end up doing the same bullshit. And somehow they made it even worse in this movie because of how cringe and awkward it was. They had lines about the fucking toes of the girl. She said, "Oh, he said, oh, your toes look weird." I was like, "Kill me right now, kill me," because I actually spent money on that ticket. Anyway, those are my old thoughts on the movie. I see, and people were said that I was hating on the movie. Oh, you're just hating, and the movie hasn't even come out yet. Well, what about now? And that kind of pisses me off too, because you're allowed to be happy when a trailer releases for a movie that you like. But if you don't have good opinions on a movie for the trailer, people always try to use that argument like, oh, you're hating on a movie that hasn't come out yet. And imagine if you use that in like the opposite way. Imagine if you see someone that loves a movie, they're like, oh my god, this movie looks like it's gonna be so fun. And then you go into the comments and you're like, oh, why do you think this movie is gonna be good if it hasn't come out yet? Oh, you're already saying that the movie is gonna be good and amazing, but it hasn't come out yet. Nobody uses it that way. They only use that argument when you say something bad about the movie. And it's like, you could also use it the other way around. If someone says good stuff about a movie that hasn't come out yet because they watched a trailer, then you can use that argument too. But nobody uses it in that way, right? It's only when this is something bad. And now that I was proven right about what the fuck I said, because then they also love to use the other argument that's like, oh, if you don't want another Superman movie, why are you reacting to the trailer? Because I love the character. I love Superman. That's why, even though I know there's going to be some bullshit and I know that they're going to fuck it up again, I still love the character and I still am curious to see what they're going to do. Like I'm going to see with Supergirl. I want to go see the Supergirl movie. Because then in the rare case that it is actually good, I'm very okay to admit that I was wrong. And I don't even mind having a negative opinion right now and then be proven wrong or be proven otherwise and then actually love the movie. Because I love Supergirl. I love Supergirl even more than Superman. But my initial thoughts and how they're marketing how they did for Superman and now how they're doing it for Supergirl instead of like, oh, instead of look up is look out. It just looks so bad. Especially after seeing her lines in the Superman movie. Bitch. Bitch. Anyway, let me know your thoughts on this one. Because I really understand of, casting somebody different for a role, doing something different with the same character that other people have, done. But there's a difference between doing it differently and doing it badly. And that's what they did with this movie. Every character was done badly. Yes, even Superman, because like I said, there was only one scene where he was Clark. We didn't even see the Clark side. He even like David, Clark and Lois, they did a good job with the acting. But even their characters were done badly. But then they're like, "Oh, James Gunn is coming to save," and it's like he's doing a worse job. You should have stayed at home, sir, because that was not it. But yeah, let me know everything. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed it. If you enjoyed this video, and I'll see y'all on the next one. Bye.